Welcome back to another episode of Raw Conversations. Raw Conversations is a podcast designed to inspire and give youth a voice, but then also a podcast designed to educate parents about what's going on in the community. I'm your girl, Camila, and I got my folks in the building with me. I'm super excited. I'm going to pass it off to my girl, Rachel. She writes. How you doing, girl?
Hey, how you doing, Camila? Thank you for introducing me once again. I'm happy to be back on here with Raw Conversations. And we are gonna dive right into part two. It's a touchy topic, but it's a topic that we definitely need to continue to make the community aware of when it comes to sex trafficking, the signs, how we can make our community not only more aware but be more interactive. Hence, our girl Malika here. So, and then we also have Ebony as well. Thank you for even just introducing us to her. And yeah, we're about to dive back into part two.
Part two. So you got us on part two?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So Rachel's going to get us on part two. The topic of this podcast is not for sale, and it has to do with sex trafficking. And we also learned a lot about human trafficking. So we're going to dive into it. We have, like she said, Ebony uncovered. Malika is the owner of Journey of Justice, which is an organization that supports the healing journey and the rescuing of folks that have been sex trafficked. And so, Malika, you can go ahead and dive into who you are really quick, and we can get right into it.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Camilla, and everyone who's online, Uncovered, and Rachel. I appreciate the opportunity. I am an advocate who has fought in the past for domestic violence and currently and will going for those who have been sexually trafficked. And if you catch me in the streets, you might see me or know me as Spirit Led, which is a spoken word artist trying to speak volumes to those about what's happened in the society from my perspective.
And you heard her. If you catch her in the streets, Okay.
Hey, Spirit.
All right. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Malika.
Thank you.
All right, Rachel, you got it.
All right. So Malika, I'm gonna dive right into with you. Being a kid or be having a past where I was a kid in foster care, I wanted to ask you, um, at least for sure, are women who are young women who are transitioning, keyword transitioning from adolescence to to adulthood, would that be the most fragile time for them to be a victim?
Mhm. Um, Typically, if you would have caught me about 5, 7 years ago, I would have said yes automatically across the board. As things have been progressing and we had that hiccup called the pandemic, things have changed.
Mm.
So right now we're seeing more from about the average age of maybe about 8 to 10 years
Okay.
old being introduced or lured into trafficking now.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's a little scary, but thank you for answering that. And so just piggying back off of actually the answer to what you just said, um I wanted to get your thoughts on that being out there, things being catered to our children, even potentially younger than that. There's actually a few things within the stores, if I'm not mistaken. Target, I think, lost like a whole bunch of a grip of a lot of money for basically not specifying boys clothes versus girls clothes. So basically the girls clothes was looking like boys clothes, or the boys clothes actually was looking more like girls clothes. So I wanted to touch more on that. So kids 8 to 10 and even younger being introduced and even what's the word am I looking for, nurtured into, being trafficked or even sexualized into that light. Prepped for it, I guess that's a better term.
Okay. You gave me an open-ended question, and there's several different ways to hit that. And I want to touch on one of them
Okay.
that, and we'll go back to the target.
Okay.
So one of them is sextortion. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard it in that way. Some of the kids say it's a little sus, but what it is blackmail through devices. So they're using computers, cell phones, gaming devices, and people are pedophiles or perpetrators are coming and luring our children through their games. So these are games or social media that can provide pictures. So
And
if
what
you're
is that
playing
called
with,
again, Malika? What is that called?
it's called sextortion.
Sextortion. Okay. And
Right.
what is the short term for it? Cess?
No, sus is what the kids say instead of being suspect. It's a little suspect.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, because I'm like, I definitely heard that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but what it is, and I'm glad that they can feel that at times because they could be playing a game and someone else wants to jump in and play the game with them. But now they're asking them questions that are a little suspect, and some of those questions are like, who are you? Where are you from? Where are you playing the game? And they'll start asking and engaging these children these questions. And it's coming even from games like Roblox, um, different kinds of games where you can add a different person in. I don't want to label all of the games because for security reasons, but any game that will allow a child to play with someone else from a different area.
Okay,
Can
I have
open.
another question. Wait, sorry.
Go
I'm
girl.
really curious. So, okay, and maybe you can answer this question, or maybe you have some type of resource. So, for parents who allow their kids to play video games, of course, that's one of the biggest things to keep young people's attention these days, right? Is there
Mhm.
any type of parental control that you can have without being present while your child is on the game?
Oh, absolutely. There's several different kinds there's different apps that you can use to protect your children and yourself. There are like 360, there's different monitoring apps, like, so if what your kid is watching on YouTube, or what movies they're watching and their location. There's many different apps out there that do help and assist with that. The greatest thing, though, even when you're walking into Target, and there's many other stores that are being affected too, that are blurring the lines and bringing confusion.
Yeah.
But the way to stop the lines being blurred of who you are and whose you are is communication. And some of the top ways kids learn are at home, at school, they're in environments such as church. Those are the things that they're learning. If they're not hearing it or learning it there, then they're going to go to resources like Google, their friends,
Absolutely.
or
Yep.
in trying to
Absolutely.
find things their own way. And that's when questions and opportunities open, and people are waiting for it. They're waiting for vulnerability. Just like Rachel, you were saying, and you guys were speaking of, foster care and aging out and different things like that. Those
Yeah.
are some of the most vulnerable
Yeah.
foster care kids. Poverty stricken areas, single family homes.
Yeah.
It's not limited to those things. They're not, it happens to families who, are teaching their kids about this, and they're still getting pulled in to this
Yeah.
because the luring is, hey, I'm lonely. I want to feel loved. And I want someone to tell me those things. And that's why we had a young gentleman, we just released it on the news just this past week, who was 17 years old and played football, good in school. And he he was lured in. And when you're in sextortion, they're taking pictures of you. Like, if you show me something, I'm going to show you something. They're using those kind of tactics to lure our kids. And so they're taking pictures of just them normally dressed. They're asking, and as they progress, because in this, it starts one way, but it's leading to another way. So the trailer becomes the movie, and it's no longer something simple. It's now show me a naked picture. But this is after they've found out where you live, what your problems are, because they want to sound like they can solve them. And most of these pictures that these kids are seeing, it doesn't look like a 57-year-old pedophile. It looks like someone who's in their grade.
Right.
And it's even hitting our, our older teens with dating apps. It's hitting even older than that. I focus mostly on children and women, but we're getting some women who are lonely, like, hey, it's a little dry. And they're going on apps or Instagram and posting their pictures, and they're getting pulled in by people who are waiting to, profit off of their loneliness, off of their brokenness, off of their insecurity. That too.
The dryness.
That dryness. People are profiting off of it. I'm just keeping it real. And, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Multi-billion-dollar industry. And if you don't believe me, check Google. Just this week, $290 million was paid out, which is rare, but this is a celebration from victims from Epstein's case with his trafficking. And Chase Bank had to pay the $290 million because Chase Bank was also had association with these activities. So when we say Target's losing money,
man,
somebody has to pay for this. And that's why we fight. We can't do it alone, but educating others helps this go out to people that I can't reach, that we can't reach, because there's many of us fighting. There's a movie coming out, Sound of Freedom, next month on 4th of July. And it's showing some of the background scenes because they want to give people a better perspective. Is it happening to all ethnicities? Absolutely. In California, we're seeing more of African Americans and I'm sorry, I still get a little emotional sometimes.
It's okay.
But when you see someone that looks like you, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
Because they remind you of someone that you know and you love. Your nieces, your daughters, your sons.
Yeah.
Your grandchildren, but it's hitting all ethnicities. California, we're unique because we have different borders, and it affects, we're close to Mexico, and it's hitting them too. It's hitting our tribes. And when I talk about our tribes, people think, oh, they're making all that money because the casinos, but they're not making all of that money. Someone else is. And when they're bringing in, like, Super Bowl is one of our top days where women and children are sold.
Wow.
On Super Bowl.
On Super Bowl, where most people are watching the game, but they're exchanging. They're bringing in people weeks before. They're bringing them in underground. They're flying them in and preparing for those who want to buy and exchange.
Wow, I didn't know that. Let me say this really quick, Malika. hats off to you and what Journey of Justice does, because just in our talks and our conversations, to be that emotional and that attached, this is not a job for you. This is a life's mission.
Exactly.
And it takes a lot to stick to something that you know is a part of a portion of your purpose or is your purpose, and to stick to that, you know, and to grow
Mhm.
that and to build that, you know. And so we appreciate the work that you do, because we know that it comes from your heart.
Thank you. Thank you. It does. It's that's why I fight. You know, I fight so that parents don't have to bury their children who've had sex more times than an undertaker can undertake a dead body.
Wow.
I fight because I don't want parents to have to post their kids on an Amber Alert because they're missing.
Yeah.
And once you're missing for a certain amount of time, the questions begin to happen. Did they just run away from home? Hopefully they come back. Yeah, we do hope and pray for those kind of opportunities, and they do happen. But this is, like I told you guys previously, this is one of the biggest crimes in the world. And with sextortion and sex trafficking, specifically sextortion, these are children who are victims in their own home. They're being violated in their own home. They're being silenced because of shame. And sometimes they're threatening their families and the children for exploiting them. I'm going to put this where everyone can see, or they're seeking money from the family and saying, "Oh, we'll take it down if you give us this money." How is that going to affect when the US of A, 78% of those working are living paycheck to paycheck?
Right.
Wow.
So when I tell kids, hey, it's summertime, yay, school is out, but it's time also to pay attention. When you're playing
Mhm.
games, have fun, but don't engage in anyone you don't know face to face and that you trust.
Yep.
That includes, like, if you're texting, don't get in group chats that you don't know everyone face to face
And that's for
and that
everybody.
you trust. Yeah, no
That's I like
doubt.
that one. I like that one because I hate group chats actually, and I be like, wait, but I don't recognize this number. But wait, they have my number. Yeah, no, I like that. Actually, that gets me to more than likely one of the last questions, and that's because it varies. But what are a good group of signs for parents and young teens alike? Where, like, say for example, I have forgive me, y'all, I have a thing on my door, like my keychain little thing, because my knob broke. And
Mhm.
I've had plenty. I love the response though, because I didn't expect it. I love how many people have warned me, hey, there's something on your door. Hey, there's something on your door, because it doesn't look normal, you know?
Mhm.
And so I started to notice that people are becoming more aware of the of the signs that has been spreaded. So I just wanted to see if you could talk on a few other signs. So one again was mentioned to me. I know everyone's heard about like the napkin in the door. You know, that was
Mhm.
a a thing for a while. Everyone was hyping that up, and I know there are other ways. Excuse me. So I wanted to
Yeah.
see if you can talk on those ways, as well as again other signs to look for. Like you said, if a car is slowing down, or if you see it more than twice in your neighborhood and it's not familiar, something you could do, like know your neighbors down the street. So if you can't get to your house quick enough, at least knock on their door. Things of that nature. We really love to touch on that.
Absolutely. You know, with sex trafficking, majority of the time you're going to be trafficked if you're trafficked by someone you know.
Mm.
And that's not exclusive, saying you will not. And it's usually like they start off as a boyfriend, even a girlfriend, and the relationship changes where it's one-sided and it's transactional, and they're going to make the transactions off of you.
Mm.
So if you're seeing red light signs like, hey, they're a little aggressive, they're a little bit controlling, they want to know all my whereabouts to what I eat and what I'm wearing and telling me how to wear and dress, and I can't do anything for myself, those are some red flags.
Mm. Okay.
Those are things to pay attention to. If you're like a kid, like I tell them, hey, we're in the malls this summer. They're out at, amusement parks. All right. Who are you going with, and do you trust them? What's your plan if you need to get away? Have those things established, because these are happening even in our amusement parks, in our malls. They're lurking. And
Right.
that's when I tell kids, if you're young and you can drive on your own, pay attention to your environment. Is there someone following you?
Mm-hmm. Because it's
You
almost like
know,
you can tell the difference between a kid driver sometimes. If you pay close enough attention. If you play close enough, you're like, I feel like that they could be driving their mama's car. Like, but yeah, no, I definitely hear you.
And even as an adult, like when I'm driving, I'll look behind me, and if I see like a car making the same turns I'm making, I
Mm,
just keep going. Like, you know what I mean? It may be
yeah,
nothing, but I think it's better on the side of like caution than this to, lead someone to your destination.
yeah,
So even as an adult, I do
exactly.
that part, constantly watching my surroundings. So that's a great idea.
yeah.
Exactly. I've led a lot of people to the police station, and I don't regret it,
That's what I was getting
because
ready to say. Yeah, let me make the turn that you don't want to make with me.
yes, exactly. And sometimes when they're trying to catch your attention at the light, turning their music up and rolling the windows down, lean back,
Mm-hmm.
turn your head so they can't get your full profile.
Lean back at that
That
time.
is crazy. Okay,
But
I have
catch them.
I have a
Go ahead.
question. So, because you when you started, you said you started off in working in domestic violence. What is that fine line of, okay, maybe I'm in a controlling relationship versus this is somebody who's trying to, because both control plays a part in both, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
where are those fine lines? Because some people could be wondering, if it's one or the other.
Yeah. Well, with domestic violence, it was it was you and the person majority of the time. When it gets into sex trafficking or human trafficking, it's now allowing more people in. If we want to, we can go into gang violence. To jump into a gang as a female, you have to you have to be a homie, love a friend to everybody there, and they ain't your
Yeah,
friend.
you gotta take on bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's not with protection.
Mm.
And
Mm-mm-mm.
majority of this is not. The average person who is sex trafficked in a day is trafficked about 100 times.
My God.
Imagine what that does to a 10-year-old, a 2-year-old, an infant. And now more than we've ever seen before are little boys.
That's sick.
If
That's
they
sick.
live more than 7 years, you can guarantee they probably had sex more than 6,000 times.
Wow.
Whew.
And in the state of California, it says we're not even, you can't even legally have sex under the age 18. But we don't talk about that. That's not part of sex education in the schools. No, sorry.
It definitely should be. It needs to be.
To sex education, period, because they sure don't have it no more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't make
And
sense.
within that, I don't even think they need to have people like Malika come in to the schools.
Yeah, and teach. And teach.
No,
Like
that's
when
definitely
Malika,
mandatory. That's mandatory because a lot
because
of these kids are walking, they're walking with no supervision, rather they're walking to school, walking back home. Like that right there is an easy target. Like and
yeah, and they're loose. They're
I
loose to
did.
their surroundings. And so I don't think it should even be a one-time thing. I think like English and math and history and all the other subjects that people like Malika should be in the schools, and it should be talked about at least on a monthly basis so that kids are made aware of what's going on, because too many of our children are being snatched up, and it's penetrating to hear like a 6-year-old is forced into something like that, even the babies, and it's unimaginable. So I feel like it's something we really need to push for people like Malika to be in our schools and to talk to our babies, so they at least they're aware. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah.
And then also teaching these parents, not just the kids, but also the parents and the educators, anybody who works with children, to be able to teach them, so that they know the different signs. They know the protective apps to place on these devices, that they know how to track. I mean, you know what? If you got a child, you need to go and look at their Google search. I'm going to leave it there. Go on and look at their Google search. When I tell you, you will find out so quick what they are curious about. You will find out. I've done it with some kids that I've mentored over the years, and just, I'm just curious. I just need to know, what are you looking at? What are you curious about? And half the stuff was spelled wrong, but you knew what they was trying to look up.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you know what, Camila, with that, and I would like to speak as a parent now, is the part about engaging with your children. To the parents, I'm speaking to the parents right now. There's a lot of like, oh, I allow my child to be independent, and that's good to a degree. But I have YouTube connected to my phone, so it comes up on my phone what they're watching. If they're trying to download something, it comes to my phone, and I have to approve it or decline it. I am in my kids' business, and I search through their history so I can see what they're doing. But not only that, they're not allowed to be on technology for hours at a time. And if somebody runs off by themselves on their tablet, I'm like, hey, where you at? Get back down here. Let me see what you're watching. So to parents, you have to be super engaged. There is no independence. In certain areas, yes, but you have to be in protect mode at all times for our babies. So I just encourage you guys, do whatever they might hate you. They might say you don't trust me, whatever the case is, but you get a baby at night and touch the baby in. So I implore you, do what you got to do and be in their business so that you don't lose your babies.
And I second that motion. Y'all heard her, Ebony Uncovered. When it comes to being completely, there's no half hands-on. Be completely hands-on with your kids. My daughter, actually, she's only 6 years old, and she knows how to use a tablet. And she just had her location thing turned on to where it hit my iPhone and it said, my daughter's trying to share her location with me. And I didn't accept it because if anything, right now it's like it's not necessary for her to share her location. Even with me, I know where she is. So every little thing counts. I also encourage not just parents. Kids are very, very smart. 6 on up. To just start. They're like sponges. So not just kids, but aunties, teachers, parents, mentors, particularly kids who are in foster care and have the freaking blessing to talk to somebody. And I know this because I did it at a young age. If you're hungry, resources. If you're looking for somebody to talk to, resources. Reach out and ultimately know that it's okay. And it's my favorite quote. It's okay not to be okay. And I know that when we get the children in not only foster care, but mainly foster care, to feel like, well, I'm not okay. And like you said, I just want to feel loved and I want someone to care for me. I want someone to care if I ate today. I want someone to care if I bathed or, any of those things. Struggle is normal. But what's not normal is for someone to be kind to you in exchange for anything. Yes. So I definitely encourage that. Kids, because if y'all can play on tablets, I know y'all understood.
Understood. Okay. Oh wait, and then shout out to Only Dubs. Only Dubs is tuning in to Raw Conversations.
Okay.
Shout out.
Shout out. Thank you so much.
But what I want everybody listening to the podcast to do is make sure you check out Journey of Justice. Support is always needed. It's always needed, especially for organizations like this that you have it's almost like you have the world to conquer, and you said sometimes you seem like, it feels like you're this tiny person with this huge problem. But if enough people gather together and there's enough people that are truly concerned about it and they start the conversation and they begin to teach these, our educators, our parents, and then teach these kids how to be aware, that's how ultimately you reduce the chances. That's how ultimately you reduce what has been growing to be a probably billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
It's over $150 billion a year.
Oh my God. I'm still just off the backs.
And if I can add, there's these shorts on YouTube that I've been watching, and they appear to be staged, but basically it's just getting the word out there. Pay attention, whether it's your child or not. You're at the park, you're at the mall, you're at an amusement park, you're at a store, wherever you're at. Like the saying goes, it takes a village. It truly takes a village. And even if it's not your child, still be aware. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, step in, call the police, take a picture, take a video. Treat that child as if they're your child, because you know how you would feel if your child was snatched. So I think it's up to it is up to all of us to pay attention and to step in and to be a voice.
Uncovered, are you talking about those short videos on YouTube where you might see a little kid at the park on the bench and then a stranger it's a stranger sitting next to them, but then a stranger walks up to them and try to lure them away, and they try to see how that stranger's going to respond?
Yep.
Yes. They see how the other stranger will respond to someone else trying to kidnap the child.
I like that.
And it's to bring awareness. And I just, oh my gosh, it meant so much to me to see these videos. And I don't know if they're staged or not, but I just know that it's bringing awareness. Like, this is what we need to do to keep our children safe.
Exactly.
There's no way in hell that a kid should have to go through being kidnapped, being sex trafficked, none of it. So it's up to all of us. It's not, we can't just put it off. We can't put it off on just Malika and Journey of Justice. We can't just put it off on the police. We can't just put it off on our mayors. No, we all got to stand up and we got to say, no, these are our kids and we want them. That's why we have them, and we're not going for it. at all.
They
Period.
not for sale. Period. She
Absolutely.
absolutely dropped the mic on that
Okay, because
one.
I think that's a good outro.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. What you mean?
Perfect. That was the outro. Okay,
That was the outro. Malika,
everyone.
please let us know with Journey of Justice how people can follow you, what they can do in order to get in contact with your organization and the work that you guys are doing.
All right. Well, you can definitely catch us. We're on Instagram as Journey of Justice. We have a website, journeyofjustice.org. You can contact us there. Our numbers are available if someone wants to contact us. We will help you walk through the strategy if your child is missing and help get them back by using the resources and contacts that we have. And we advocate for kids who are vulnerable, those who are withdrawn, those who are becoming isolated. We walk with them from prison to freedom. Whether they're in the bars because they're paying the crime for their trafficker, or they're in prison in their own home because they're not speaking and they've been silenced. We go through the journey. And if you want, like I said, you guys can contact me, journeyofjustice@gmail.com. Let me know. If you found out something new, I don't know everything. We continue to learn every day, as just as you have to update your iPhones, same thing. We continually update information and we learn from those who have survived. That's what it's about. Yes, we can't do it alone. And I'm considered one of those little people because we usually promote the bigger ones doing more. But go and learn those who are locally in your area. There is a national number that will help you reach out, and that's 888-373-7888. Or you can text 233-733. If there's a problem, this is nationally across the US. My number is not that big, but I am effective because I know whose I am and I know who gives me the wisdom and knowledge that I carry. It comes far beyond a book. It comes from the throne of grace. It comes from the throne of God. So if you want to contact me directly, I don't normally put this out there, but I will because I feel it's necessary. And that's 619-537-9376. That's if you, your child, your church, your school are looking for freedom and want to be taught how to walk it out.
Listen, y'all not gonna get that nowhere else. That was exclusive for Raw Conversations, but please share the knowledge, share the information, even if it doesn't affect you and you know somebody that it does affect. Please share this information because it's more common than we all know. I appreciate Journey of Justice. I'm tapped in with you, Malika. I'm going to support you. Our organization is going to support you as much as we can because this knowledge is very important for the folks that we work with. So we appreciate your hard work, your dedication, your passion, and your purpose. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
Uncovered.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on. Thank you, Malika. Thank you, She Writes, and Camila. I appreciate all of you.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. So you guys know, follow us, Raw_Conversations1, Raw Conversations on YouTube. We doing some work. We doing some work. We got our feet planted in the community, and we are most importantly partnering with a lot of organizations that are out there with the same heart, the same purpose, the same passion. So we appreciate y'all. We out.